And welcome everybody. Ari Rosenbaum here with another episode of that 401k virtual bunch. Dan will be with us in a second. But before we talk to Dan, tomorrow we'll have that 401k virtual conference number 9, 12 noon Eastern. And then on January 21 and 22, that 401k National Virtual Conference. Walt Frazier, Doc Gooden, the Retireaholics, January 21, 22. Sign up at 401ksite.com for $33.33. And speaking of that 401k National Virtual Conference, one of the people that'll be speaking at the event is Dan Harding. And Dan, how are you?
I'm good, my friend. How are you?
I can't complain. I mean, we had a snowstorm here in New York, but
Yeah,
had a couple hours of shoveling, which
sure.
thankfully I survived. Um, how'd you start in the retirement plan business?
Great. So my business, so my father, Sam Harding, started our company, Retirement Administration Incorporated, in 1978. Same year I was born. So I'm 42. So we've been, hey Michael, we've been literally in this industry my entire life. So I actually started my first job was riding my bike to the office, which is in Los Altos, so Silicon Valley, right near Stanford University, and riding my bike from our home to the office, which is about 1.3 miles away, and taking out the trash, doing taking the fax thing out of the fax machine and then spilling it everywhere and then putting it back in the fax machine. And then, so these were all my jobs growing up, and then learning about kind of how plans design work at a high level and what a 401k was. And so I really grew up in kind of understanding the high level of administration and the pluses and the minuses and the challenges of that industry. I started kind of growing up in that, and then I also then took my career. After I went to Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, and then after graduated, I worked in the kind of commercial real estate and other investment areas of the industry. So I have a decent amount of experience, kind of coming kind of full circle to where we are today, Ari. So that was kind of a roundabout answer to your question.
So, how did you? We're going to talk about WealthPrime. So, how'd you come up with this idea of WealthPrime? And I want to always preface it like, you know, 22 years in this business, 10 years on my own. People come to me with a lot of good ideas and then a lot of crappy ideas. Or it's like,
Right?
yeah, I mean, I told you a story. There was a guy who he says, "Oh, I got this website and you could look at 5500s and all that kind of stuff." And I'm like, okay, so how are you different than anybody else? And
Sure.
EFAST makes it easier. In the old days, you didn't have EFAST, so you actually would have to go to Larkspur or Judy Diamond or whatever it is. So I'm like,
Right.
okay, it's always funny when they make it out to be a big deal, and it's just like you're creating expectations, and it's just like, who cares? But when you came to me about a year ago,
Yeah.
more than a year ago,
Yeah.
and you showed me WealthPrime at its infancy, and it's of course been updated since. Why don't you tell us about what I think is one of the greatest things I've seen?
First of all, that just thank you, Ari. That's what a kind thing to say. I mean, the check's in the mail, obviously, but thank you for those words, man. I appreciate your directness and your candor and your friendship. So thanks, bro. Um, the Obviously, if you work, you wouldn't be listening, you wouldn't be chiming in here unless you were in the industry, right? This is not just for every mom and pop, moonlight financial advisor, CPA or CPA. This is for people are listening to Ari and they're here, know what they're talking about, and are driving the industry, right? And so, I'm in your industry. I'm a third party administrator, and I recognize that there are lots in my humble opinion, there's lots of holes in our industry. And a lot of those holes are around the understanding of the retirement plan designs. So there's a lot of complexity in 401k plans and IRAs and simples and defined benefit plans and profit sharing plans. And so what I'm trying to do is simplify that because there's a lot of gatekeepers to the information, and it's really complex. And as you know, if you work with a third-party administrator, because there's so many great CPAs out there. I mean, I partner, and I'm excited to partner with like the plan design group, like JD and Chad. Those the Retireaholics. Those guys are like the best in the industry, and other great CPAs that I'm working with nationwide to really try to not just work for myself, because yes, I'm an administrator, but like my goal is to use the technology to help everybody in the industry understand the value of tax mitigation and wealth creation with regards to design. So that's what, Ari, that's what I'm trying to talk about today. Is the problem is education, in my understanding, and deliverables to bring clients on in the retirement space. And with your partnership and the partner of everyone here, I think we can accomplish that by using my technology to drive education and to drive assets under management. So I'll get into it in a second, but that's my hope today, Ari, is to just kind of start the conversation how I think we can all help each other in this community.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, when I used to be on sales meeting, when I worked for a TPA, and talking to a client or potential client about what we can do for them. Your WealthPrime goes a long way to showing and showcasing to the plan sponsor. These are the choices. This is what happens if you go with plan A, plan B, plan C. And, back in the old days working for a TPA, most of the actuaries I work with, you couldn't speak English.
Yeah.
When I say they couldn't speak English, they were native born Americans. They just couldn't speak English. They could only speak actualese. And, your product is a conversation starter and a clear and concise. So I had an actuary that I worked with at one of TPA, and he used to stammer, or not only stammer, stutter, but more importantly, he would go into this whole diatribe, and my boss would say, Larry, just, bottom line, what is this? And, WealthPrime is kind of like bottom line, exactly. How much is this going to cost? What are my requirements? And, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Great, man. Well, hey, thank you. Ari, is it possible for me to share my screen? You have to, yeah. I think you have to allow me to do that. And
it says you could share.
Oh, looks like I can now. And so, Ari, I know you saw this a couple of weeks ago, and this is, once again, this is in its beta format. So please don't. It's not pretty yet. We're still working on all of the back end design. So the user interface isn't what I hope it to be in the upcoming weeks before the year end. But so we built a plan design desk software. So as an actuary, as an administrator, my job is to, when a financial advisor or a CPA or an estate planning attorney wants to talk about different retirement plan designs, they send me a census document. I then upload that census document into my actuarial software, and I run different proposals. This is before WealthPrime. This is just as a CPA. That process is very old school and has lots of holes and leaves lots to be desired. So what I did today is, what you're seeing is just the dashboard on what an administrator can look like. So we're selling software to administrators and to CPAs and to financial advisors. But this is what the dashboard can look like for everybody. Is everyone seeing my dashboard, by the way? Ari, is it coming through to you?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And once again, this is in beta format. So and I got a team in Argentina and a team in India working on this 24/7, literally both of them. So if this glitches, please don't get too mad at me. I apologize. This is, you guys are seeing this right front and center. So a planner can go and to plug a company's information in. So let's just go RE Venture Partners LLC. And RE Venture Partners, can we call you an LLC taxed as an S? Does that work? Because you're in venture, I'm going to make sure that you're in one of these industries and have what's called PBGC eligibility. Once again, nobody knows what PBGC is. And the users won't know, and you guys don't know, but this will soon basically say, do you have employees? Do you apply for, do you get larger contributions? But Ari, you know what PBGC is. Everyone else on the call knows what it is. Yep. But the user experience, once again, this is not where it's going to be. but we've got Ari as this venture partner. We're going to add some employees quickly by hitting this add employee button. And Ari, you got to track me in case everything doesn't go to the next screen. Just let me know, okay, buddy?
Yeah.
Ari, how old are you?
48.
Nice. And then I'm going to put your data higher as 1/1/2018, just for simplicity's purpose, okay?
Yep.
I'm going to click this box because you're an owner.
Yep.
I'm going to click this box because you're highly compensated. Now, this is obviously 130 this year. So you guys are seeing that, 120 was the number for 2018, 125 and 130. So, but this will be updated here shortly. Working 1,000 hours a year, which means you're full-time in the eyes of Department of Labor and the IRS. And let's call your compensation $500,000 a year. And that can be, because we're using the tool as an estimator, as a conversation starter. So as planners, you're saying, okay, I think they make around $500,000 or 750 or $1 million, whatever. Just put a number in here. It's because we want to capture as much data as possible. So now we've got our first business owner, Ari. And because and this information's from the National 401k book, right? The average company size in the United States is 4.3 individuals. So I'm going to add some employees really quickly, Ari, just to show you how the different plan design software can work. I'm going to put everyone's data higher at the same time, just to streamline it, if that's okay. I'm not checking this box because they're not a business owner. They're not highly compensated. I'm not going to check this box. They're not going to maximize their deferral, but they are full-time. And we're going to put their income at, let's call it 85,000 per year. So Ari, are you seeing this? You see my 2 employees so far? Okay, I think that was a yes. I'm going to add 2 more employees really quickly. And this obviously you can put the real names of the participants here. And you can always go back and edit. It's real quick. It's real easy to do. So now we've got our 3 total participants. Now we're going to go our 3rd and final employee, a little older, same data higher, full-time. We're going to, let's call it $110,000 in comp. So still non-highly compensated and in that protected class, right, Ari?
Right.
So we now have a 4-person company and with 1 business owner. Now, as you can see here, even though I put $500,000 as your comp, because we're gonna carve it down to the limit of 285. So this is just, once again, it's not perfect. We're working on it. We now have the data, right? We then hit this generate report button. Excuse me for 1 second. Let me get some tea. Excuse me. And now what we have here is a comparative analysis that it can be run on the fly, that's customizable to you guys as advisors, you guys and gals, excuse me, as planners, that shows all the pluses and minuses of the different plans that are out there. And so you become an educator, not a seller of product or plans, which and I studied the psychology of sales and how the process of the brain works. This puts you in a space where there's no objection to you showing this information. You're just providing content and becoming a trusted partner of that client. It's a lot different than selling a 401k plan, a lot different than selling an IRA or selling insurance. It becomes you become a partner of education to them, and then they'll use you for lots of their friends too. This is what our advisors are finding. So the first thing is we want to, Ari, we're not selling products. We're not selling 401ks. We're just starting a conversation and we're educating. And we think that the best way to educate, and I don't think you are going to be able to hear this online, but we built software and we use videos for the education content. I'll let it play for just a second, and I don't mean to be, and everyone will have all of this content accessible to them for their clients. So this is the biggest, I call this the biggest opportunity zone out there in the market. And I use the word opportunity zone kind of openly because everyone knows about the tax benefits from opportunity zones. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about $8 trillion that is currently exposed to creditor predation because of the Secure Act. Simple. There's $28 trillion in retirement, 20 trillions in 401k, 8 trillions in IRAs. All the IRA assets are now exposed to creditors. We just came into a COVID year where I think this is going to be 2021 and 22. I strongly believe it's going to be the most litigious time in our history, over and above 2008, 2009. Stock market's one thing. If you're a business owner and you furloughed somebody or you didn't honor one of your contracts with one of your vendors, guess who's coming in 2021? Somebody who's pissed off at you. So because of that, what's happened with COVID and the Secure Act, there's now $8 trillion that I believe is going to move from one bucket of an IRA bucket over to qualified plans into 401ks. I want to build the tool for my partners and my planners to go capture as much of that asset as possible and streamline it to monetize it for your benefit. So I want to use my software to help you get more clients. And the way that you can do that is with education of what's happening in the market and a way to move forward. And so that's what I'm trying to do. So Ari, does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
Cool. So then we kind of talk about, in IRAs, there's no vesting schedule. So if you have an employee, if they leave, you're still giving them a great benefit, but if they leave, those assets go with them. And so as a business owner, and I own 3 businesses, I don't think that's the best move for me as a business owner. So there's no vesting schedules, there's no loans or life insurance in IRAs. But the biggest thing, and I really kind of trying to shake everyone's cage here, is that they're currently exposed. And as a planner, I want to educate you to educate your clients to say, this is a problem. I have a solution. Let's have a conversation. That's what I'm trying to get. The proof's in the pudding. As you guys all know, that if you want to make contributions into an IRA, the max amount that you can put in is $57,000. And that's, you have to have a compensation of over $250,000 because it's a 25, it's whatever percentage, 25% max of comp. So to get you to your 57,000, it's a 20% of salary approximately, which means that everyone else, all your employees are going to be really, really happy because you're providing a very generous benefit to them. I wouldn't do this plan, because why would I get less than 50% of a benefit anytime I'm sponsoring something? That doesn't make sense to me as a business owner. So I wouldn't do this plan. I would actually walk right away from this if a financial advisor wanted to put this in front of me, because this doesn't make sense to me. Couple that with, so as planners, I like to reverse engineer things. Because you're not selling software, you're not selling 401ks, you're not selling insurance, you're just talking, you're having a conversation. And the conversation is different opportunities, and you're just providing the education in those opportunities. But here, as a planner, you can say, if you have an IRA, the goal is to get to retirement and have money in retirement. And in this plan, we can get you to around 1.2 million in 15 years. And that's assuming you put in 57,000 into the plan per year, and we return a 5% on the return. So pretty conservative math there, right, Ari?
Right.
But to do that, to get to 1.2, you're going to have to put 59 aside for your employees, or 51% of the benefit. Plus, we're not sure that these assets are going to be secure down in 15 years from now. So maybe we think there's a different option. We know you've heard about IRAs. IRAs are one good solution. Maybe there's something better, which then we bring it to more video education, more AI, learning for your clients, and learning for their friends. And then if you're the individual that's bringing them the education and the opportunity, your referral network, I believe, is going to go through the roof if you're doing the right thing for the clients. So and I don't mean to waste everyone's time with the videos, but it's a lot of good content that solidifies the strategy of you all as planners trying to find the right solution for your clients and providing the detailed analysis on the roadmap on how to get there. We talk about what a 401k plan is, because I'm in this business and I've been in this business my entire life. There's, in my humble opinion, there's not a lot of great education on the very basics of what a 401k plan is. I mean, there's a lot of glossy, pamphlets that you can pick up as swag at NIPA or at Napa, but like, there's not a lot that really distills down the value of what planners do. And I'm trying to make it real obvious that you deserve to be paid the assets under management charge, because you're bringing so much more to the table than a robo or other groups can provide. We're then solidifying. So what we've done here is we started the process of the sales process of letting them make their own decision without you selling anything to them, just providing information. So once again, we talk about the iris, whether or not the best thing, but then we get into the brass tacks of the design, which is what my specialty is. Since I already sends me clients and I design them, and this is what I put out, but now anyone can do this. So now we've got this safe harbor where everyone is receiving, and because of the Secure Act and the HOPE Act, we can now extend the safe harbor timelines to do it the entire year, which is great. So now everyone's going to get a 3% safe harbor. The owners you're going to get 19,500. You're below the age for catch up, obviously. And now we're going to do a tiered allocation in the profit sharing plan, which everyone's going to have between, a 4.8 and a 7% profit sharing allocation, depending on the average benefits test, which we all run in the background. So all of the actuarial stuff is happening in the background, and this provides the data on the front end for you as the user. So as a planner, we're still trying to get to the goal of retirement of having over $1 million in assets. We now do it with level 2 by putting 57,000 aside, but now our cost is only 12,000 to cover, or 19% of the benefit.
Which is 46,049 bucks.
If you, Mr. or Mrs. Business Owner, if you want to save that much money, option 2 is a better option. Only if you want to. But you're not selling, Ari. You're just having a conversation.
No, I think it's fantastic. And Mike asked if this is something for larger plans. So I would assume you could add as many employees as you want.
Yep. Well, today I can only do, we're, as the team is working in India right now, I can upload 50 at a time now. But it's not perfect yet. It's going to give me a couple more weeks until it's perfect. Okay. But I'm spending a lot of time in making it perfect. But it's not there today. Is that fair?
No, that's fair.
This is, so my son, his name's Hunter. He's 8. He's awesome. And he we're all COVID, we're all home, and he's often underfoot because what else do you do during your Zoom breaks and you're 8? And so he comes in and he's helping me, on my pitches. He's like, Dad, everyone likes this screen because it makes him happy, because everyone thinks of Pac-Man. I was like, yeah. You're right. Everyone thinks of Pac-Man here because you want to have the larger amount of money that you're getting as the business owner, versus I feel like you kind of get steamrolled over here. I'm a big 49er fan, but I want to get a larger percentage of the benefit than 49%, right, Ari?
Exactly.
Sorry, that was a plug for my team. Not sorry.
No problem. So where can people find out more information? Because I have to cut it short this week.
Sure. No, at wealthprime.com. I'll send it. And there's also, so just so you know, we then build the actuarial side. And I apologize, I went over, Ari. We then talked about all of the different designs.
For that 4 minutes, I just got to leave at 4:30.
No, you're right. And so we now have cash balance designs where I'm an actuary. I know what the minimum cost is. But obviously the cost in the cash balance plan is going to be more than the 401k plan by 3 times. But it's a lot less than the IRA. So now you're planning to a $4.3 million nest egg, which you as advisors are managing on, and showing a much better path. So just in closing.
What's great about this is that, okay, it's a conversation starter, but how many times I was at a sales meeting and I said, okay, well, we can design something for you, but, you got to wait a week, before the actuary. And then, certain times of the year, the actuary is more busy than others. This is not a good time for the actuary. End of the year was always never a good time. July is never a good time for an actuary. April, October.
Right. Right.
The idea of, this kind of reminds me of, the big thing was a Polaroid. Polaroid camera was. This is before digital. Polaroid was the biggest thing. Like, my God,
Right.
you have a picture here, and of course, digital now. I
It's
get
available right now.
but this is kind of like that, in the sense that here, voila, here's your instant results. Let's
Yeah.
talk about what I can do for you, or we don't. It's assumed what I can do.
Yeah.
So.
Perfect. All right. Let me just close. Let me thank you so much. We actually tie in all the pricing for the product. So once again, your advisors aren't saying you should do one or the other. They're just bringing the decision tree to the client and then making the client feel good with their decision. But net, IRAs suck in this situation if you're a business owner, because the total cost for your employees outweighs the net benefit and the net taxable benefit. So an IRA in this situation is going to cost a business owner.
And also, you always push the IRA. Well, now, losing the credit protection, but also, again, you're going to, and I've always had the discussion about solo 401ks as well.
Yeah.
You're going to Fidelity, you're going to Vanguard.
Yeah.
They don't give you any help. And here we'll do a qualified plan for you. You could save a lot more in retirement, and voila, you'll have an advisor who's going to tell you exactly what kind of investments you should offer.
Yeah.
Provide education to participants and whatnot, and borrow against the plan, which you can't do in borrow against account balance, which you can't do in an IRA.
So Ari, I'll follow up with an email specifically to you if you want to disseminate that to the group.
But also,
here.
send out your email if they want to contact you directly.
Perfect. Yep, just it's dan@wealthprime.com or wealthprime.com. We've got a full team where we would love to work with any TPA, any financial advisor, any CPA, any insurance agent. We're here to help, educate and move the needle forward with regards to helping clients across the world. So thank you for your time, Ari. I appreciate you, buddy, and looking forward to working together always.
And you'll be back to give a bigger spiel to a bigger audience in January.
Sounds good. You all have a great day. Thank you for your time.
Take care. Thank you so much, guys.